welcome to Carol's Daily Sauce. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for tuning in. I'm so sorry that the subject has to be on suicide today. The problem with suicide is it is a problem that we here in the United States suffer with quite a bit. There are numerous amounts of people who have contemplated suicide, attempted suicide, and some of them unfortunately have succeeded. So, how or why did I decide to think about suicide today? Well, as you guys know, that I am an open book. I have been in a depressive state before in my life where, yeah, that was my thought. I figured, even with my children, because my life was so bad and I was so much in a bad place that if I had committed suicide, all of my problems would be over. But that's not so true. What you have to understand is when you take your life, but you leave others with the pain of having to deal with the fact that you took your life. So why am I talking about this today? The reason being is because a group of middle school volleyball, boys volleyball team young men, I guess it was probably about 6 or 7 of them, were told by their coach to go and take a run around the corner from the school. They did that over this weekend. And when they did that, they noticed that there was a lady actually dangling off of a bridge. This took place in Fresno, California. What actually happened, I gotta get my little handy dandy notes here. What actually happened is the young men were all running, walking, jogging, doing exactly what their coach had instructed for them to do in the realm of preparing and exercising. They went for the run, and upon going for the run, the young man noticed that there was a lady actually hanging from off of the bridge. Her feet were dangling, and it appeared that she was trying to kind of work herself up, back upward, where she had climbed onto the bridge to do what it is she had intended to do. The young man then left and went to go and tell their coach, there's a lady down there by the bridge and she's attempting to commit suicide. The judge, I keep wanting to call him the judge. I've started this video over 3 times. I'm not doing it again. The coach ended up instructing the young man to go back and tell her that her life matters. Tell her how important she is. For 10 minutes, the coach could hear the young man encouraging this woman and telling her how wonderful she was, how her life mattered, how nothing that she could possibly be going through could be this bad in which she would end her life. It actually took 10 whole minutes for the authorities, for 911 to come. Now my question was, always missing in a hair, why would he, the coach, send the young men back? What if the young men had went back and she had succeeded? But thank God she didn't. So they went and they encouraged her, told her how important she was. They continued to speak those kind words for her. And then the authorities came. They continued before the authorities came to plead with her to use her strength, all the strength that she had within herself, to pull herself up. One of the young men stated that he'll never forget this. He said, I'll never forget the fact that I was doing something and walked up and noticed a woman trying to take her life. They spoke life into this woman in her troubled time. And that's what we have to do for one another. We have to speak life into each other. We are so consumed with walking around, being concerned about what A has, about what C has, and not even worrying about what we, which is B, has. Be concerned about your own self, but be concerned about the goodwill of people. One young man during the interview with the news station said, no matter what it is that you're going through, I believe if you pray at night, it will eventually get better. He believes the same way I believe. I went through many, many situations and many, many circumstances in which I too had considered committing suicide. But what you do is you leave those who are left here, your children, your husband, your mother, your father, your grandparents, your grandchildren, you leave them wondering what it was they could have possibly done wrong, what it was they could have done to keep you from doing it. You leave people with that feeling of pain. Death is already a very hard and hurtful situation in and of itself, whether it's planned or not. But it's even more so when you take your own life. It's also a sin. All of the boys were seen as heroes. They were all seen as really great young men. The authorities applauded them for encouraging the lady and for, number one, saving her life. The coach was very proud, so much that when he spoke to the newscaster, he had tears running down his eyes, and he indicated that he felt like a father figure to most of the boys. He continued to express how proud of the young man he was and how he had hoped if they're ever in a situation like that, they behave the same exact way. Now, with all of that being aside, a life being saved, thank the Lord, by the help of some young men, being able to just mention kindness and speak life into someone, which is what we all should be doing. But we're so concerned. We're so concerned with having what others have. We're so concerned with others not having what we have, instead of praying for one another, genuinely praying and caring for one another. I want to seriously talk to you about some things concerning suicide. I know this. I know that if someone is considering suicide, many times they don't tell people because they think it's a very cowardly thing to do, even to speak on it and to actually do it. The problem is, if they succeed, they don't have to worry about being a failure, which is what most of them already think anyway, and is what places them or puts them in the situation that they're already in. But always, if you know of somebody who's mentioned it, know of somebody who spoke with it, please, ma'am, please, sir, please, boy, please, girl, please mention the National 800 talk line. It is called the Suicide Prevention LifeLine. It used to be called the Suicide Prevention Hotline, but it is now called the Suicide Prevention LifeLine. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That phone number is 800-273-8255. And actually, the 8255, the last four numbers of that phone number are talk. And that is exactly what they will do. They will talk you and walk you through it. We've all been in positions where we've been hurt. We've all been in positions where we've been tired. If in fact you find someone who has actually attempted and is unconscious, please don't wait around. Please dial 911 because that is an emergency and we want to save people's life. If someone is in the process of attempting to commit suicide, what we want to do is we want to speak firmly to them, but we want to speak firmly to them in love. Let them know how important they are, whether you know them or not. Tell them how much of a good person they are and how they would hurt themselves and hurt others, specifically themselves, if they don't succeed. Many people have actually attempted to commit suicide in some of the most gravest ways and end up living. Many have become paralyzed as a result. Many of them never talk again. It's so many things. Just your saying a few kind words could save someone's very life. Also, I did want to let you guys know that suicide is a major concern. It's a major concern in the United States as well as in the UK, all across the country. So what I did is I went online and I tried to look up how many people we lose in the United States to suicide. I can just tell you, it's thousands and thousands of people. The reason I couldn't get a more accurate amount, is because if you want to know the accurate amount of how many people we lose in the United States to suicide, you would have to track all of those who actually succeed when they attempt, because there are attempts made, but they don't succeed. Thank God. A lot of the times when people attempt to commit suicide, they do need to seek mental health. Mental health does not mean that you are insane. It does not mean that you are crazy. It just means that you need someone to talk to. You guys, I have a cotton mouth, so forgive me. I want to share this with you guys anyway. I've drank most of it. This is called Hubert's Lemonade, and this is blood orange lemonade. My friend Andrea gave it to me, and it is absolutely wonderful. So excuse me while I go ahead and get me a little swig of it. Medication I take, unfortunately, tends to give me a cotton mouth. But be encouraging to people, be uplifting to people, speak life into people. It is not going to cost you not 1 cent, not 1 penny to tell somebody something kind on today. You never know how people, my mother used to always tell me and my sisters, I have 2 sisters and I have 1 brother. And those are the ones that I was raised with. I have a lot of sisters and brothers on my father's side, but I'm speaking of the ones that I was actually raised with. And one of the things my mother always told us, my mother is a retired probation officer of over 20 some odd years in the county that I stay in. She also was a nurse and worked with mentally challenged people. She worked with geriatrics. She's worked with a lot of people. She's also worked at Napa State Hospital here in California, Napa, California. And what my mom used to always tell us was this: you never know how someone woke up this morning. You never know whether or not that person wants to live or die. So be as kind as you possibly can to people in the process. Day after day after day, it is never going to hurt you by being kind to people. My husband often says to me, I'm just so nice. You're just so nice. You're just so kind. You always seem, I hear all the time, you're so sweet. My pastor says it. It's a compliment and I accept it. But I have my days and I have my ways. But I have taken the things that my mom shared with us, that my mom taught us, and I have learned that whether a person is your favorite person or your least favorite person, if you are in a position where you can make a change in their life, do so. Speak life into the lives of others. God will bless you for it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Carol's Daily Sauce. This has been another one of those talks that I come online and share with you all. Please go ahead and leave comments in the comment box. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and do share. And if, in fact, excuse me, my eye is itching, you know someone who may be dealing with the subject of suicide, contemplating, having had already contemplated, please speak life into them. But in addition to speaking life, please help them to get help. God bless you guys. I pray that you are blessed, but above all, you are encouraged. And I also pray that something that I said in this video will change your heart and will change your life. Be blessed, be strengthened, and be encouraged. I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.